Hopefully I don't. But hey everyone, just in case you don't know me, my name's Ishani. I'm probably best known on campus for being the person that tells you that she went to U Chicago for undergrad within 5 minutes of meeting you. And that's mostly because I just want everyone to know that I think I'm better than you. So I would say, since I tend to introduce myself that way, the number one question that I get from boothies is, what's the difference between U Chicago undergrad and being at Booth? And I would say that it's actually completely different. So I would say, U Chicago kids, it's like people who think that the pinnacle of learning or the pinnacle of achievement is being an expert on 18th century Tibetan weaving techniques. And Booth is full of students who want to be popular one last time before losing all their hair. So really different population. So I would say, another thing that's really different between U Chicago students and Boothies, just to give a little bit of my background, I studied comparative human development in college. Yes, that is a fake major. Yes, I did pay $250,000 to learn that. But my experience in undergrad was low-key kind of socialist. So I was really surprised to figure out how much Booth loves the free market. You guys really are out here worshiping Milton Friedman, like guys, he's dead. He doesn't know. So anyway, speaking of Milton Friedman, did you all know that he once said that if you put the government in charge of the Sahara Desert, that they would run out of sand within 5 years? And, I consider myself a proud triple maroon. Not only am I a double maroon, I'm also maroon cohort uncontested rep for the 1Y. So I feel really comfortable to say that it's exactly how we've put GDC in charge of our caffeine addiction. Because now, we put the federal government in charge of it, and now we get stale coffee that runs out before our 3 p.m. lunch crash. So, I think that we actually should put the Adam Smith Society in charge instead, so they can finally do something useful. All right. So speaking of markets, I think one thing that I wasn't expecting coming to Booth is that the dating market here is really, really competitive, okay? So, I'm just a girl, I think I've got a great personality. I found it really, really hard, okay? And I don't think that my list is particularly complicated, right? Like, I just want a guy who's extroverted, ambitious, family-oriented, maybe over 5'10", that would be nice, willing to yap with me until 3 in the morning, and most importantly, a consultant, so they can leave me the fuck alone from Monday through Thursday. And I think I realized, the girls here at Booth are great. I'm just not going to be able to compete with them. And so I've really spent the last year looking for alternative markets. And for me, that's actually been weddings for this last year. So is anyone here getting married soon? All right, hey besties, call me after. We need to talk. But, I'm not getting married anytime soon, obviously, otherwise this set wouldn't be happening, but I really love weddings. I love weddings. I mean, what's not to like? You get to eat, you get to dance, you get to hang out with your friends. If you're really lucky, you get to make the groomsmen, which is very exciting. But I really love weddings because I like to use it as an opportunity to be hotter than everyone else. And I know that it's a little bit self-centered for me to make someone else's wedding all about me, but I have to say, first, I go to a lot of Indian weddings, and I gotta say, the bride and groom I've found, actually, they'll invite anyone, right? Like, they don't really care about me being there to celebrate their love. Just a quick shout out, all who are my Daisies in the crowd, make some noise. Okay. So y'all know what's up. I'm gonna talk to the 2Is here for a moment. For those of you all that don't have any Daisy friends at Booth, which, by the way, that's crazy because there's so many of us here. Like, it's actually, I think, easier to make Daisy friends than it is to not make Daisy friends. So, I don't know, maybe I wouldn't check that. But you have approximately 1 month to befriend another Daisy person here at the school so you can get their wedding invite in the next 2 to 25 years. And I know that some of you all are probably like, girl, that sounds a little transactional. But I know some of y'all are out here like, hey, I heard that girl, her parents have a $30 million house in West Palm Beach. Like, let's try to see if we can get the invite. I think, compared to that, getting a 3-day wedding invite is really not that bad. Okay, that's just fine. I am gonna check my notes here. Like I said, I think it's a little bit self-obsessed to make, yep, I'm back. I think it's a little bit self-obsessed to make weddings about me. But I've learned over the last couple of years that the couples don't really invite me to celebrate their love either. I think that I'm just getting invited to throw ass. And, I think that it's kind of like a toxic relationship, right? Like, he's only with me because he doesn't want to pay for therapy. I'm only with him because I want access to his rooftop pool. And I think that a big part of this is, for those of you who haven't been fortunate enough to go to a Daisy wedding, it's not only just like a celebration of the bride and groom, it's also a fucking talent show, right? Like, everyone from little kids to aunties who are definitely scoping you for their son based on your dancing talent, have to perform. And so, in classic IST fashion, which again, for those of you who don't have Desi friends, that stands for Indian Standard Time. That means that we are always last minute and we're always fucking late. So, I know that you guys are booth students and you're probably looking for some data. It's actually been about 3 different times where I've gotten invited to a WhatsApp about 2 weeks before the wedding that's like, hey, here's a video, here's the choreography, please learn it by the reception, you're gonna be performing. And I'm like, wow, y'all really didn't think I was gonna say no. And also, you're right, I would never miss an opportunity to stunt on these bitches. If that was the case, you guys wouldn't get to see me throwing some ass in Act 2. So, thanks, I appreciate it today. So, with that, I think another important thing to know about me that I've left behind in my Chicago days is that I'm actually fucking delusional. And so I never practice or anything before the performance. I'm like, you know what, I'll just figure it out. I'm gonna be like a couple tequila shots in, I'm gonna try and throw it back in my like 200-pound lehenga that I'm wearing at this event, it'll be fine. And I've taken this attitude with me into my academics as well. I don't study. I think that most of us probably don't study. And so, I think with that kind of like last minute mindset, I actually walked into my investments midterm a couple weeks ago, fully thinking that alpha was like a weird Tumblr fanfiction term from the 2000s, and beta was an insult that you would give to creepy men. So I think it's a really, really great thing that my parents think that Chicago grade deflation is still in effect, so they don't realize that my grades are because I don't go to class. But yeah, anyway, so I think with all of that I'm probably destined to get married to my job, which is sad. But I just want to say, I gotta shoot my shot while I'm up here. If any of you guys have a rooftop pool and you want to buy me a tequila shot after this, I would not say no. But yeah,